Hello, welcome to the Volunteer Summit. If you haven't met us before, I'm John.
I'm Ellen.
And we manage the volunteer program with Park Pride and get to work.
Sorry we're not there with you guys, but we're going to show you a short video of some best practices and some upcoming exciting things in our programming. So one of the things we found works really well for our groups is coordinating regular work days. And that schedule can look however works best for your group. For example, you could have monthly work days. Maybe you pick the second Saturday of every month. Whatever works best for your group that you can put out to your neighbors and they can kind of know what to expect, that really helps generate regular volunteers for your work days. Make sure your elected officials know about your work days and your other events in your park. It really helps to build that positive relationship, and then you can generate support from your elected officials for your future efforts.
We recognize that you guys are actually a bunch of volunteers as well, and really the best volunteers ever. We greatly appreciate your support. Burnout is a real thing, especially when you're working from passion. So a couple tips for trying to lessen the chance of burnout is division of labor. There is a role for everybody. I think it's just a matter of communicating with the people and figuring out what they're interested in doing. Delegate. If somebody's passionate about something specific, if somebody's really into invasive removal, or they really want to build a pollinator garden or a trail or some other project, if that project has support from the group, let that person run with it. I also encourage you to coordinate with the other neighboring Friends of the Park groups. Likely you guys are kind of pulling from the same teams of volunteers or working with the same council or commissioners. So coordinate. If make sure you're not having work days on the same day, and ask the other friends groups to come help you out.
So you need volunteers to run a volunteer project, right? So who can you reach out to in your neighborhood? Our Friends of the Park groups use a variety of volunteer sources. So some examples are schools. If you have a college or a university nearby, a lot of those schools have clubs, they have service organizations, fraternities, sororities, and they want to get out and do community service. So if you make those contacts, you can even work with them year to year, even when there are new students involved, as long as you maintain that connection. Even high schools and middle schools, a lot of those students need service hours to graduate, and they can do just as much as some college students, so don't forget about them. What about the people using your park? Do you have recreation leagues? Maybe you have a tennis league. Maybe you have some soccer teams that come and practice in the park or play their games there. They're great volunteers as well. They use the park, so they want it to look nice, and they're great sources to reach out to invite to your work days. Finally, there are corporate groups. Maybe ask your neighbors if they work for a company that has a service program. They may be able to bring their coworkers out and make it an event out of it and get their corporate social responsibility in.
Don't rely on just Park Pride for volunteers in your neighbor. Reach out to other nonprofit organizations. Atlanta is full of a lot of really amazing groups that you can work with, and a lot of you guys are already working with some of these groups.
Workdays are a great opportunity for volunteers to learn. So you may want to take the time to explain to them, for example, why do we want to mulch a tree, or what's the difference between an invasive and a native, to help them understand why the tasks they're doing are important and make them feel kind of more motivated, and they'll feel like it's a more meaningful project. In addition to your kind of basic projects and why those are important, you'll want to give them a sense of context for your neighborhood and your park. So tell them what you know about the history of your community and the history of the park. It really helps them feel like this is an important place to you and your group, and it makes them more motivated to work hard and make it look nice.
Administrative duties. Boo! No, I'm just kidding. This is important, and you got to do it. It's just part of the programming to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. again, along the theme of just making sure that folks know about Workdays and trying to kind of build a group, is track emails, waivers. Make sure everybody signs a waiver. Liability is real. It doesn't necessarily fall on you, but very much does fall on the jurisdiction that you're working in, as well as Park Pride. If you need sign-in sheets, they are on our website, as well as Ellen and I are more than happy, or Tina or Kayla or anybody, just more than happy to help get those to you. And track your volunteer hours. I know we bug y'all about this a lot, but it is very important to document your hours, who's coming out, who's volunteering, and then sending those back to Park Pride.
First, we're working on ways to support you guys to host more volunteers in your parks. We get more requests than we're able to handle, so we want to share the love with you guys and kind of get you to the point where you're ready for volunteers and we can engage more people in the parks. So we're also working on a shared calendar where you can post your work days. So when we get requests from groups, we can look at that calendar and see if there's a project that you guys are hosting on that group's date, and we can send them straight to you. We're also looking for ways to encourage you guys to collaborate with each other. Whether that's sharing volunteers, so maybe you worked with a great group that you want to send to another park and share the love, or maybe that means volunteering at somebody else's workday. So we're always open to more ideas about how we can best support you. So if you have an idea about the volunteer program, please feel free to reach out to me or John. I'm at ellen@parkpride.org, and John is john@parkpride.org. Yeah, we can't thank you enough. We're so inspired by what you do, and please feel free to reach out if you ever need support from us. We're always here.
Bye.
Bye.
Park Pride, 30 years for the greener good.
Back to you, Tina.